ठीक है, we can cut it off. Like whatever.
Yeah.
You trim.
I think it's good episode. It's a niche, no? No one knows about martial arts in India.
Anything else you'd like to address from your perspective? Like forget the pillars, like because you've been in martial arts, you're around trainers. Anything you think that the audience would want to know?
He spoke about that. He spoke about the confidence people get. He spoke about.
Yeah.
I think he spoke about everything.
You want to speak
About my experience in the ring.
वो भी हो गया.
anything else that you want to highlight? Or is there
About the
anything
age factor to be clear.
Yeah.
you're from trainers' perspective, any their stories?
I said no about how much we won.
Yeah.
Okay. Then
Covered.
training indoors.
Hi guys, welcome to the next episode of Squeeze Sessions with Galgal. Today we have our good friend Qais Shetty, who's gonna talk about fitness, fighting, and all things about the MMA industry and his journey of how he's participating in it. Welcome, Qais. Thank you so much for
so
coming.
honored.
Welcome, Qais. How
To
you
be part
been?
of this show.
Yeah. So how you been, man?
I've been good. I've been fit.
Yeah,
You've been I
Not
like
just
that.
physically, but even mentally.
good. So one of the reasons we wanted to speak to you was fitness is the new year coming. We'll be releasing this video in Jan, and what better way to start with the new year resolutions and with fitness coming up, and everyone has new fitness dreams and aspirations. So if you can help us and the audience understand how can one become fit and all things about what goes behind the fitness industry, and I'm very interested to speak because you are, not part of only the gym industry. You're a fighter. You're a professional Muay Thai national winner. Your father has been in the federation, and if you can tell us more about yourself and a quick introduction about you.
Sure.
Yeah.
So my journey in this field started when I was 8 years old. So if you'll put it this way, many people aspire to be a fighter and want to learn the combat sport. But for me, it was a very different thing because at 8, obviously, I had no idea about what martial art is. But my dad, being in this sport since decades and being part of Muay Thai organization, and during his time, he has fought many competitions. So basically, I was bred for this. So at the young age, I used to be with him and his camp team, and they all used to compete and I used to watch them. And I never knew what the sport was until the time I went to school. And and when we came to an age where we used to watch movies, like let's say we used to watch Jackie Chan, or we used to watch Bruce Lee movies, and seeing them do all this crazy stuff, made us see we all share the same vision, like where we look up to a power, like all of us, we looked up to a power. It can be anything. It can be a father figure or superhero.
Yeah.
And that just intrigued me, if this person can do this, why can't I do? And that's where I started, keeping more keen interest towards my father's art. And that's where I started, being more interested, how does it work and how this happens.
Amazing. So you say the movies and pop culture also played a role in influencing you more towards this art form that was already so widely present in your house. So, but you think nowadays, when you see a lot of these movies where people are doing all these stunts and people are doing all these different techniques on this set and all, you think that inspiration that people have started drawing from these movies has reduced when it comes to martial arts specifically?
I mean, that's very subjective. If you all will see back in our days when we were small, the WWE used to be a major factor where half people didn't even know that it wasn't real.
Yeah.
But still, people young people used to just toy each other on the bed and do the wrestling stuff when they had no idea what it is about.
Yeah.
But coming back to reality now, people are aware. Social media has played a vital role in all this.
Yeah.
Where people know what is truth and what is a lie.
And I think UFC and all these different organizations that have come up with their own leagues and stuff have really, you mentioned WWE, right? For the longest time, I remember my own dad thought WWE was kind of real. And he used to argue no, I think it's kind of real. But now when you see the comparison between entertainment combat sport versus an actual combat sport, you kind of see the difference.
You see a big difference.
You see a big difference. But coming to the point of training again, your childhood, when you started training at such an early age, what was that journey like when you're because it's not a very common thing for an 8-year-old or a 10-year-old to train martial arts, right? I'm sure a lot of people do it, but it's not as common as someone playing cricket or someone playing football.
Definitely not.
So how was that like for you?
So at very young age, like my friends, they all had their social circle, right? Where they used to play at 10 years, 11 years, and I used to be in camps training with my father and his team. But honestly, it was beautiful because I think I learned much more than other kids would have learned that age. And more than anything, it was more about ethics, culture, discipline, and meeting different people from different places and training with them, exchanging skills with them, and honing skills with them. So it changes you. It changes you a lot like a person,
Yeah.
and not just physically. Main thing is the mentality and the mentality of the other people you meet.
Yeah.
That are going to make you one step ahead of others.
No, 100%. Like, I mean, one disclaimer, guys. Both me and Harsh have trained at Kais's gym. It's called Q Cage, and I completely could relate to everything that you said right now because there's something so humbling about martial arts in general that you can be a smooth talker in like on the normal life. You can have a certain socio-economic status in like a normal life, but when you enter the cage and when you're one-on-one fighting with a opponent, and that first punch that lands on your face,
Humbles you, it humbles you.
Dude, there's nothing, I don't think so there's anything else in the world that can humble you as much as a punch on your face. And everything goes out of the window. Your ego, your status, your who you are. At that point, I feel those animal survival instincts just kick in.
It's a reality check.
Yeah,
right? It's a reality check.
It's a reality check in a way. So yeah, I mean, but honestly, I'm very grateful for like, you know, people like you and people like Rupesh sir, your dad, and everyone who have like, you know, come together and set up like this organization like QKH, and it's helping so many people, I feel.
What goes in a 8-year-old training, and how did that evolve into becoming an athlete yourself? Because
Yes.
looking up to your
So,
father,
I'll
must
give you a
have-
very good example
Yeah.
on this. Okay, so the ability to fight and overcome an adversary is the main reason for everyone to start fighting or MMA or anything. Like, you know, it's a battle. It's a survival instinct. Like I said, we all chase power. Like I'm sure, like we all used to, even in the back in the days, a soldier used to obey the
General.
general used to obey the king, and the king used to obey the god. So I mean, you know, we men seek power. So same way for me when I was small and I started young, it was all about, you know, trying to be like a role model for myself, for my father, like let's say for my superhero, and you know that kept on getting the intrinsic motivation to go ahead in life.
It's like your father is like this martial artist and you wanted to show that, yeah, like, even I'm worthy to do that. Was it that, or you wanted to prove it to yourself that you could
So back
be like him?
in the days when I used to compete, I was never known for my own identity. I was always known as my father's son.
Okay.
Okay.
So which used to, you know, sometimes trigger me like when I have my own identity.
Yeah.
So when I used to play national, my dad was the president for MTI, for Muay Thai Federation.
Okay.
So during back then also, when like people used to ask me about my experience, and my father used to say, he's my son, that's his experience.
Oh.
So more than anything, before I used to fight for myself, I used to fight for him
Yeah.
and his respect and his honor.
Yeah. But that's a beautiful motivation in a way as well. Like, you know, it's whatever, you can use anything in life to like drive you forward, right? And I think you have done that in the most beautiful way. But I want to understand like Muay Thai. You mentioned Muay Thai. So if you could break down what is Muay Thai and how is it different from other forms of martial arts, like say like a karate or boxing,
Okay.
if you want to compare these
so
popular.
Muay Thai, the main difference, it's a full contact sports. So when I say full contact, people can get damage and people do have to sign waiver for anything that's going to come ahead. And how's it different from other sports? Muay Thai is basically 8-limb art. So basically all your 8 limbs are involved. Let's say your punches, your kicks, your elbows, and
Okay.
your knees.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a complete sport. So for me, I'll say it's a complete sport where you can use each part of your limb to
Okay.
Attack.
attack.
So now talking about Muay Thai in general, like, you know, when was the time that Muay Thai actually started becoming popular? Like, because it's from Thailand, right?
Yes.
So
So, okay, let me cut you there. Originally, you all won't, like many people are not even aware of it. Muay Thai comes from Hinduism, so it comes from India.
really?
Okay.
But yeah, that's facts.
Okay.
And it comes from Hanuman. It's a Hanuman art.
Okay.
But many people aren't aware of this fact because what happened was the art was taken away from us because we never honed it well. And the Thai people, they took it there and they made it into a fine art.
Wow.
They honed the skills.
I never knew this. So like,
Yes.
so what's the history behind this? Like,
The history itself is derived from Hanuman art.
okay.
So during the, let's say, during the Hanuman time,
Yeah.
the art was derived from Hanuman himself. So
Okay.
basically, if you see, it's a mythological art.
Okay.
Wow.
But that's beautiful. I mean, that's such a surprising fact. Like, I had no idea about this. And having trained Muay Thai for the last 2 years, I was not aware of this. But how popular is Muay Thai in India? If you compare like popularity of Muay Thai in India versus in Thailand, like is
I
there?
mean, there is no comparison, absolutely no comparison, because in Thailand, it's their national sports. So for
Okay.
us, how cricket works, for them, it's how Muay Thai works.
And do you see a lot of similarities now in India where people are coming to your studio to learn Muay Thai, or is it still only for weightlifting? Are you seeing a trend where a lot of youngsters?
So I'll tell you how
Yeah.
the trend works for these youngsters.
Yeah.
So basically, in today's time, all the youngsters get influenced very quick through movies or through shows. Like I'll give you all the smallest example. Let's say some show called Karate Kid. Like I'm sure you all have watched Karate
Yeah.
Kid on Netflix, the
Yeah.
new one. The
Yeah.
news, yeah. So when Karate Kid started, sales of kids joining went up to 25% straight. Okay, another example I'll give you all is when Conor and Khabib match happened. Again, our sale it spiked to 35%. So I mean, when people see something so memorizing and they
Yeah.
want to be there, like they
Yeah.
want to feel doing the same thing, and
Yeah.
that's what. So in a way, I'll say social media plays a big role.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the same time, I think now this is the right role of social media to influence people,
Yeah.
where they're coming out of their shell and trying to do something, they're owning their skill and trying to learn something new.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, see, pop culture and social media can definitely motivate you big. But at the end of the day, if there is no career in it, or because a lot of people are still debating whether I should do this or not if there is enough money in it. Because
Okay.
someone like a parent who wants to train his kid in or her, like their kid in like cricket, they have more of a motivation because okay, there's high competition, but there is a chance that the kid might succeed and
Yes.
might go ahead and play in the IPL or India. What's the situation for martial arts? Like not specifically Muay Thai, or just martial arts in India. What's the
So
situation
I'll be
in India?
blatant honest about this topic. 90% of athletes in India don't get paid that much. Like they are very rare. And if you come to categories for state, nationals, there are some states which will pay them and there are some states which won't pay them. Again, the states which are paying them is not much where they can make a living out of it, right?
Yeah.
Is when these fighters then turn up to be coaches to earn their livelihood. But what happens? So the irony behind this is the time management, where they, when they want to be an active fighter at the same time, they want to train people to make the earning out of them. So it is difficult. Like I'll say, again, like I said, we all are fighters, so all have to fight to this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's I think mainly driven by sponsors, right? Like when it's sponsors.
Sponsors do play an important role, but only sponsorship will come to you only if you're a well recognized athlete,
Right.
where even they'll see their benefit, where they want to focus you to show their audience.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I mean, there are so many fighters even in India. That doesn't mean all the sponsorships are going to go to them.
Yeah.
So only if you have established yourself in a big leagues, where your name is very well established, is when the sponsors are going to come to you.
Yeah.
So I have a question on this, guys. When you talk about big leagues, are they competing in domestic tournaments or they need to travel abroad and fight with international fighters? How does it work?
So I mean, there are a few big leagues even in India which have come up.
Okay.
And just to create a spice, they'll get a foreign fighter here. Or let's say if our fighters are playing in private events outside,
Yeah.
they can obviously go against a non-Indian guy.
Okay.
So I mean, the fight matchup is all according to the level of engagement they get.
Got it. So it's curated in a way to get maximum
Maximum
eyeballs.
audience. Yeah.
Audience.
Okay, got it. So, but I feel media, like, again, it plays such a big role. Now, if there are enough people seeing Muay Thai, that means enough people will get motivated to actually participate in the sports. That's where the money will start flowing in. So, right now, have you seen in the last 10 years any growth in people like participating in combat sports in India, or at your QCage, like your business? Is there a spike in the last, from the first time you started QCage to now? Like, has there been an increase of young people coming and joining, wanting to learn martial arts? Has there been a trend, upward trend?
I mean, in QK, it's always been a trend for these young people to get in, and I support that, because at the young age, if you start this, it's going to be very easy for you to own the
Learn.
art. And when it comes to competing, we obviously have put our time and energy in those few people who we knew, we could get the maximum energy out of them, and
Yeah.
they have competed for us, and they have obviously won. But again, it's all about you and your
Passion.
passion and your
Yeah.
intrinsic motivation,
Yeah.
which drives from within.
Yeah. So, like, when we talk about our athletes, like, martial artists, what's like their life? Like, if you consider, like, okay, like a footballer can start playing at like a 15 or a 16 professionally, can play younger as well, but they usually wear off by the time they are 30, 32. Some artists, some players like, say, Ronaldo or something, Messi, and they have like their longevity has gone up to 38. For a martial artist to perform at an optimal level at a global stage, what's like the duration?
So that's very subjective when it comes to Muay Thai, or like, let's say when it comes to boxing. I mean, it's going to differ because a boxer, let's say a pro boxer, will be playing max 1 to 2 fights a year, whereas a Muay Thai athlete will be playing 2 matches every month.
Wow.
So that way, if you see their saga, a professional Muay Thai athlete will obviously have like 100 or 150 wins compared to a boxer who will have like 6 to
40.
7.
Yeah.
40 will be
Total
their
career.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That plays a difference. So the durity of their time and their body, the aging factor kicks in around 30 for a Muay Thai athlete. Like, let's say a 30-year-old Muay Thai athlete is going to have a body of a 50-year-old because his body has been
Through so much.
through so much pain. And
But why is it like that? Why do Muay Thai like fighters like fight more often than a boxer?
then see, boxing in today's time has become more commercial, and in Thailand still it's more
Raw
culture.
culture.
It's more culture.
So they fight for the king, they fight for the
Okay.
higher purpose and higher life. Yeah.
Like, I remember reading this one time where like these fighters back in the day, they used to like actually pray, and they used to like it was more of a spiritual process for them to get into these fights. They even the headgear, so it's a headgear, right?
So no, it's not called a headgear, it's called a monk call.
Okay.
So basically, back in the days when Thais used to go for war, they used to wear this as a good luck and to gain confidence. And in today's time also, if you see Muay athletes sparring, or let's say during their pro matches, they'll do something called kata.
Okay.
Yeah, where they're displaying, wearing the headbands and wearing the ropes. So it's a beautiful thing because it just shows the value and ethics and the spirits it's still in them.
It's a culture.
It's a culture, yeah. So this is one of the most beautiful thing I like about the sport, that the cultures were never.
Yeah, they're not driven by money
Money,
over there.
yes.
I mean, money is obviously a necessity, but at the same time, like it's more driven by culture or that honor for that gym or for their family.
Family.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
It's sacred.
It's sacred. So something like that, if you want to instill in an Indian athlete, at the end, they have to get so immersed into that culture and they have to understand the value of it. Only then you'll be able to compete with someone like a Thai athlete, right? But at Q Cage, if you could just list out how do you not just train them physically, but like what's the mindset you guys have to train like a martial artist? Like for someone coming into Q Cage, it's not just they're lifting weights.
Yes.
They are learning a martial arts that they could potentially use to even harm someone. So what's the mental training that you guys do at Q
So in
Cage?
QKs, there are all different type of youth coming in. Some come for good reason, some come for wrong reason. Someone wants to come to learn how to fight and fight out. Someone wants to come who's been bullied and who wants to learn how to self-defense. Someone who comes like, who have a habit of anger issues or
picking
something.
fights.
Yeah. Like, so everyone has their own fight. Like I said, like even today's time, like, let's say you all are working on something and we all have some fights. So I think to remove that frustration or to, get your zone in, people come to Q Cage and then explore themselves. And I mean, 90% of people I've seen, the success rate of their, like, I mean, even y'all too are one of them, like, who could see big changes in the mental health. Because for us, fitness is not about muscle at all. For us, fitness is meant about your mental peace first.
Okay.
And if you're mentally stable and if you're mentally positive and good, I mean, you can do anything. You can do maximum most of the things.
Like without taking any names, like, if you could give some example of like someone, if you have seen in your gym where they came in and they were they didn't have the mental clarity to like, gauge the right things in their life and the wrong things. And after practicing martial arts, like, they actually got a more clearer vision on how to like, lead their life. Have you seen such cases?
Yes, I have. Because in martial arts, when people start, I've seen, like, including myself, people mature quicker, people become more focused in life, and mainly it's the confidence that kicks in them. Like, you feel good. Like, I have so many of my friends and even the students who like say, like, when they get out of QK and, they feel like overpowered, like they just feel overpowered, like
Yeah.
they have that confidence. And
They live in peace.
and then today's time, the world shuts your confidence down so much. Like, that's why people are in a very,
Yeah. It's like learning martial arts is like a skill, right? And at the end, like it's not something that is easily attainable.
Attainable.
You have to work hard for it.
And that's what that's what I always preach to others. Like, you shouldn't be known for the materialistic things you own. You should be known for the things you own, like a skill.
Yeah.
Like, let's say, like for me, my identity, like when it comes scares, like, suddenly a martial artist or a boxer kicks in.
That's
So
the first thing you'll identify
Yes,
as martial
yes,
artist.
martial artist.
Not a businessman.
Yeah.
Not, okay.
Nothing. I mean, that's beautiful, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we all should be known for our skills, not for the things we carry or possess.
Yeah.
So what was the inspiration to, you're the founder of QCage. What was the idea behind
QCage?
Yeah, behind QCage.
So
yeah.
QCage Fits, the QCage Fit was never supposed to happen at the first place. So me and my father, whenever, like, my father is a businessman, apart from his passion, he's a businessman, and we're into construction. So after my studies, when I used to work with him, I never used to like the corporate stuff. And either, like, within down, I knew, I mean, he never used to, enjoy it so much because the passion was missing. So, I always tell, even today's time, I always tell people to follow their passion with work. So there's a balance in life. So back in my days, when I was working with him, I could always see that incompleteness within me and him. And after my studies, I was supposed to go to London for my MBA. And before that, pandemic kicked in and all my friends got stuck abroad and everyone had to go through offline. And I gave a picture to my dad that, what, like, let me open something of my own.
Okay.
So QK was always there, but it was a private gym for me and my father. It was a private gym for us. Like,
Okay.
me and him used to train because we never liked the concept of gymming.
Okay.
Okay, when I say gymming, like, I'm not against gymming. I think it plays a vital role.
Yeah.
But I meant like bodybuilding. Like, we weren't like into that zone at all. So I told him, let's open this as a commercial aspect where I can get to know about business. And the whole point of doing MBA is to learn how to open a business.
Right.
So if I do this, it's going to be beneficial for me. And somebody was okay, he was fine by it.
Yeah.
And when QKids started, and I was really famous among my friends and peers, and then when they found out that I've opened QCage, and they just started to rain in, and them and their friends, and like even y'all too, we had common friends between us. Is why even y'all like
That's why
showed
we
up.
came. Yeah. It was all word of mouth.
It's all word of mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you do something out of passion and out of goodwill, obviously good will come to you, and
Yeah.
good people will come to you all.
Yeah. Well, that's very important. Like, you can be spending so much on marketing and ads, but if like the market is not talking about you, that's a clear indicator that like there's something wrong. But you could be spending minimal on advertising and yet you having immense goodwill in the market, so that your marketing spend is like barely anything, but like you have audience flooding in. Like, honestly, I really appreciate like the effort you guys put in into the details of like your equipment and everything at QCage. But to set up something like this, I mean, if tomorrow someone who is a martial artist and wants to set up like a studio, how difficult it is, or like what goes behind the scene?
So it depends on, first of all, it depends on the location is one of the most important aspect of opening such places. You'll have to always see where it's accessible for everyone. And then with this, all the other things follows up, your license permit, your marketing cost, your gym equipment, your
Rent.
rent, again, an important factor.
And coaches, right?
Yeah, like it's like you have to create a family, and then you have to form a community, and then itself becomes a family.
Okay. Because right now, if someone wants to set up a new gym and he starts off with like a small studio somewhere, what would be like the minimum gear and equipment that he or she would need to set up a studio?
Studio for boxing or
Boxing, Muay Thai, step.
honestly speaking, Darshan, you don't require anything. Like, you can even do martial arts. You're in your house, you can call your coach and he can make you do. That's the whole beauty about martial arts, that you don't require your weights or your machines or anything. Like, but still, like, let's say in a commercial point of view, like if you want to open your own thing, all you require is your boxing bags, all different type of bags. Let's say we got angled bag, we got the big bag, your Muay Thai bag, and your headgear for safety, like let's say for sparring, which you all both have experience. And Like you don't require like much stuff. It's all about you and the limited things you need to get you.
So like the bare minimum also works.
Bare
Like
minimum also works.
so one doesn't have to get too scared with like, oh, if I have to set up a martial arts gym, I need to have 10 different equipments. You can just have the
Not
mitts.
really. Like you can even a smallest dumbbell set would do a good deal. Like me and Harsh when we used to train, I used to always tell him that with small weights, like the lighter weights, we can do much more. And remember, we used to like how much we used to beat those weights up.
Yeah.
Was
So
it
it's-
tough?
Yeah, quite difficult.
And the good thing about martial art training is you don't require like weights or like machines. We believe in body mastering. So we believe like let's say like I used to always give Harsh this example that no matter how much you can bench press or like how much you can pick the machine, but if you can't lift yourself up and you can't stabilize yourself, what's the point of doing all that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it makes
We did 1,000 push-ups once together, right?
You
Yeah.
guys did 1,000 push-ups.
in an hour.
Yeah.
Wow, 1,000 push-ups. That's crazy. No, it's great that they can start with the bare minimum. But one thing I'm always impressed with QCage is that you guys have the best equipments and the best coaches. Recently, I saw some equipment that you guys are acquiring where the punching is automated
Okay.
of some sort. Like, what is that?
Okay, that's strike. So once I got a DM. You always get DMs on Instagram, and then the strike page approached to QCage, and then they were like, we like your
Workout.
boxing gym page so much, and would you like to try our equipment? And there are so many ads that keep popping in, but this seemed a little legit. So I went through it and I saw all the professional boxers. Like I saw Canelo on it, and then I saw Conor on it, and I was like, wow, this looks so good.
And they approached you guys.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yes. And so they even collab with us on 1-2 videos
Okay.
with their product in our gym. But I mean, you'll see in today's time how technology is growing. Like even in boxing, like so this machine basically it reads your movement. You can put your own algorithm. Like let's say I myself am a different fighter. If I'm fighting, let's say Harsh has his own combo and skills. So we all are different in our own field when we're fighting, right? When we're boxing. So this machine basically, I can put my algorithm, I can put my movement, I can put my combos, and the machine is going to read and do the same.
Okay. So it's pre-programmed set of moves that
Yes.
the machine will strike you.
From the most basic to the most advanced. So I mean, the
Okay.
technology is evolving in terms of boxing as well.
Yeah.
So what's the role, like if tomorrow, like these technologies evolve to a point where like, they are functioning very well, you think that's a danger to the trainers? Like because the trainers at the end of the day can get tired or they might need a break, but this machine can just keep going on the entire day.
Okay. The machine can't learn the art itself, right? It can be programmed to learn it. So there will come, I'll say it's a club in, it's going to be good for both because the coaches is going to make their work a little less because all they'll have to do is guide them through and the machine will take over. Where you said about the coaches getting tired, yes, I strongly believe in this because even they age, right? Like even their muscle have the capacity to take those punches, like say the padding. People understand a pad holder takes more blows than even in sparring because our ligament, our muscle, they all have life.
Yeah.
And again, brushing through it, it's not an easy work. It's not an easy work.
Yeah.
So I'll say the technology and let's say the coaches are going to club in and make things easy for both of them.
No, that's going to be amazing.
Because people at the end, they need a personal touch. So let's
Yeah.
say in future, let's say you get a AL boxing machine. So you won't get that personal touch with it so much how much you get from a person. Because a human touch is always more.
Plus,
real.
also from the safety aspect, like if like your coach is seeing that, okay, you are getting tired, the coach might slow down, but the machine doesn't know it. If you are, while punching, you suddenly sprain your arm, the coach might have the insight to like suddenly stop.
Yeah, because it's programmed.
It's-
Like it won't know. Like same thing. Like
Yeah.
like me and you like we three having conversation right now, and it's beautiful because we all feel real, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or same thing if you see Siri is being programmed to speak. It can speak. You can ask him anything. But
Yeah.
again, it's programmed. You don't feel real. Same
Yeah.
thing if you collab with this,
Yeah,
you're gonna feel the same thing.
yeah, yeah.
So diving into it, coaching and having that family of coaches, do you think you guys have an unfair advantage because of your father's network and your network? You all were able to attract the best coaches based in Mumbai, and not only Mumbai. I believe there are coaches
Yes,
outside of Mumbai coming to Mumbai to work with you
Yeah,
guys,
I
right?
mean, yeah, for us it was very easy in that sense because we already knew everyone's background and everyone's achievement and everything. But more than anything, like for me and my father, it was never about the achievements. It was about the character and about the right thing because a student no matter like how unpolished he is, but if he has a bad coach, he'll never progress in life.
Yeah.
So it was all about, the good connection.
Correct.
If we know that guy is good, not because of achievement, leave his achievement aside. The achievement will be staying with him. It won't be passing on to his
Students.
successors.
Yeah.
So if he as a person is good, is when he can bar good.
Yeah. I feel right now, even if you're a very skilled martial artist, if you don't have the right mindset, it can be a very dangerous tool, right? Like it's like a knife given to someone, and the knife can be used to like cut vegetables, or it can be used to like stab someone. And you're giving that skill set to someone to like do good, that is protect themselves and their loved ones, or do harm, just go and pick fights. How do you, because it's a very big responsibility that you guys have, so how do you ensure that students have that right mindset?
So Darshan, like I'll give you a saying which is very powerful and it is true. Like I feel it's very true. All right. So there's a saying that no matter if I like teach you in martial arts and let's say you get the art, but if you have come for wrong reason, the art will never come to you. Like it's period. Like it will never come to you. So like they say, there is no art, there is no price tag to it. If you're learning to destroy someone or get into a battle, you'll never learn the art. Let's say you have come for right reason, and if the art has managed to get into you and you have learned it, you'll never fight. The only thing when you'll fight is when you have to defend your family and friends.
Yeah.
Because that's the whole point about being a martial artist. Like let's say with great power comes great responsibility. That doesn't mean you have to flex. If I know I'm powerful, I don't have need to prove and justify it.
Yeah.
There have been like times with me where like we live in Mumbai, so Mumbai is so frustrated city. Where like say like people are honking, like I'm stuck in traffic and people are abusing. I would let it go. Like small things doesn't matter. But let's say if a person who has learned 10% and someone does it to him, he is likely to get into a fight more because he thinks that he has learned it all.
Yeah. I feel having the right set of coaches is very imperative. Like, you have to have the right guidance, especially doing something like this.
As you brought in rightly that, you guys have such a big responsibility to not let this coaching get out of the studio in a very negative manner and injure people. And what satisfaction does it bring to you and the coaches when you see students evolve into this mature level of not only fitness, but the nutrition you all provide and tips? So what joy is it bringing to you guys? Seeing and our parents of these students that come, are they reaching out to you guys
Oh,
after
they are
the
very
sessions?
happy because right now the youth is a lost youth because people are so involved with, let's say, social media or into a bad circle or into wrong stuff. So people like today's kids, for them, everything is very accessible. Like they want to do something, they'll do it.
Yeah.
But let's say if they want to put their time and effort to do something like this, which isn't easy. Like I'm sure you all both have done it. It's not easy. So obviously they'll see a growth in themselves. Their parents will see growth in them, and then it's our work to always just be a pillar for them.
Yeah.
And when we see them achieving something, like let's say this last tournament of ours, we had a 15 years old girl who won the finals. And I mean, that was the most joyful thing that I saw in my life because she being a girl, when everyone thought we live in a patriarchal society like in India where they don't consider girls to be powerful. And this one was like half the size of the other opponent, but yet she took him through her skills and through her effort.
She won the finals.
She won the finals.
What tournament was this?
This was DSO.
Okay. That's amazing. And the confidence that she must have got after winning something like
beautiful.
immense.
Yeah.
Beautiful. She's a different person now. I mean, she's evolved.
And you cannot put a price tag on that, right? Now, this is something which is going to stay with her like
through life. That's
through
what
life.
I said. Like in QCage, whenever, when people say, oh, what is the fees cost, what is the fee structure? I said, there is no fee structure, fee cost. What you'll be learning is going to be priceless. It's going to be staying through, let's say driving, or let's say it's going to be a muscle memory.
Yeah.
So you can't put price tag to martial art at least. You can't. You can never do that. Like let's say if I have taught Harsh how to unlock 1,000 push-up, he's going to challenge that for life. That's a certificate itself.
Yeah.
Or let's say if you had mastered your sparring, or let's say your head movement, or like the smallest thing, a 10 pull-up unlocking, that's going to stay throughout the life.
100%. It's the mental resilience.
The mental strength.
Yeah. So since you brought up the fee structure, it makes me think, how affordable is this sport versus a traditional gym, right? Like across India now, let's say I see a boxing clip on Instagram and I'm motivated. Especially now, I think the rise of UFC, looking at like the fighters you mentioned, Conor, Khabib, every kid is aspiring that, you know what, I'm bored of just doing my
Doing gyms.
traditional weightlifting and I want to try this sport. Is it accessible across, you think people can afford this sport? Uh,
I mean,
what is your
yeah,
overall
so
view?
India
Like,
being a diversified place,
yeah,
you can get everything. You can go to the most expensive gym, you can go to the most lower gym.
yeah,
I mean, money is just a liquid, right? But the main thing is not about money here. The main thing is about the right person you're under.
correct.
So when it comes to a gym, I'll say discard the gym, discard the money factor, discard everything. Find the right coach.
Okay.
Comes first. If your coach is right, doesn't mean like you go to an expensive or go to a lower gym.
Yeah.
If his value, ethics, and his teaching is right, I mean that's all you need to know and need to like gain from that person.
Yeah, it's not about the price tag. It's
It's never
basically
about the price tag when it comes to martial arts.
When a person sets his budget for the month, that okay, I need this much for my rent, my bill payments, my grocery. Do you think Indians are committing a portion towards fitness? Because I read somewhere that in US, for example, the penetration of the population working out and is much more than India. So what is stopping us Indians to, you know, dedicatedly have a fitness routine? Especially with the new year coming, the jokes are gonna start, right? We keep talking
New year, new me.
Yes,
new
yes,
year,
new
new me,
resolutions.
new fitness routine.
So I'll say, people need to know that rather to attack their body more than that they need to attack the kitchen.
Okay.
Because kitchen is the main source of all this
Okay.
belly fat and like let's say you being unfit. Because gym comes second. See, people don't understand. Gym is not primary, gym is secondary. The main body is being made in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Let's say even if I'm working out at QCage or let's say I'm doing boxing, I'm doing calisthenics, anything. But if I come to my house and if I have the same refined sugar, if I have the refined oil, and if I have processed packaged food, I'm going to still the same. There will be no changes. There's going to be absolute no changes in my body and mind. And at the end of the day, I believe you are what you eat.
Yeah.
So if I'm eating shit, I'm going to think like shit.
So let's help the audience, right? You're the expert. Guide us. What is an ideal nutrition plan for an athlete? What any tips, tricks on a low budget? How can people still, you know, not look at these expensive protein shakes and all of that that's being sold in the market today? If you were an athlete and you were to guide us that Harsh Darshan, this is an ideal basic nutrition plan that I would do to survive, to be fit. Any tips, any guidance for the audience?
The life is very easy. It's us who make it difficult. Because end of the day, we have everything accessible, right?
Yeah.
We have everything available to us, but it's us, who go for this refined sugar, who go for processed food, who go for shortcuts in life. I mean, at a house, if you see our mothers cook the most amazing meals, all we have to do is we have to just redirect that. Let's say if I want to eat something healthy, I'm going to put my protein consumption and my green consumption. My protein and fiber should be same, and carbs are supposed to be less. This is the only hack.
So
And we
less
Indians-
carbs, more fiber, more protein.
More protein. We Indians, we are bound to eat more carbs, less protein and no fiber. So when there is no fiber, the protein doesn't get big in the body. When that doesn't happen, a gut becomes bad. When gut becomes bad, the bad bacteria becomes more. So I mean, and when that happens, mentally even you're stressed and your stress level goes higher. When that happens, you don't feel like gymming. So it's like a saga, it's like a cycle.
And there's a lot of bad nutrition advice over the internet. I keep seeing ads targeting me on supplements,
Yes,
which
yes.
I don't even know what are they packaging in, right?
So for people, it's
Yeah.
very easy to consume, but people are like goats. If 2 do it, 3 do it, even I'll do it. Like, yeah. So you should never do that. There's always, if you see behind, there is stuff written.
Yeah.
And there will be stuff written which you don't know what it is.
Correct.
But again, if we say social media has, played a
Promoting.
good role, you should just open your phone and read it.
Yeah.
If let's say if anything tells me that this gives me 30 grams of protein, okay, it will give you. It's written, right? You can't lie you.
Yeah.
But it won't give me those 10 side effects which is going to take place with it. So that is our part where we have to study on.
Yeah. And I think nutrition could be simplified, right?
Nutrition is very
People
easy.
complain that, oh, I can't spend on a nutritionist, or I don't know what I should eat. But actually, like you're saying that it's a simple,
It's a basic
you
hack,
can eat
like,
your home
yeah.
food and still have a good, healthy,
Of course, yes.
balanced diet, right? That's great. And I also believe you're into organic farming at your farm, right? Would you like to tell us a little bit more about that?
On Q. So basically, we came to this idea about Q Farms is our post QKH fit because, like I said, that the new youth is so much into social media and the matrix. So we wanted to cut that because when we take these kids to the nature where they are, where they are working out in the open environment, is what our fathers and grandfathers used to do back in the days. But
Yeah.
then today's time it's become a fashion because for them it's new, which should be natural.
Yeah.
Because we being an individual, we should be out. Okay, we should be soaking the sun. But in today's time it's fully reversified. Because today people are in ACs and they're hardly getting the sun
Yeah.
and they aren't even like going out or doing any activities. It's become that because for people it's the shortcuts have become easier and where it's something which is hard for them and they'll just take a back step out. So the whole purpose for Q Farms was to get them out in the sun, to to work out, to feel the air, to smell good. See, again, Mumbai is a place, it's very commercial.
Yeah.
Even our air quality feels see.
It's dropping. Yeah.
Oh man.
So
it's-
what exactly is going to be different at Q Farms? Like what's going to happen over there? What's your
So
vision?
basically, there we preach a good lifestyle. Like I said, for us, secondary is the workout. First thing is the mind. So let's say we'll have all this meditation workouts. We'll have a good lifestyle meals where we'll show them, how a meal works to your body and mind.
Yeah.
And then comes the workout. I mean, it's a club in, like it's a complete package for all of them. And main thing about this youth is to getting them aware about what is right and what is wrong.
And they'll also work out away from the city.
City
And
away from the
there'll be a
population,
focused,
pollution,
focused training plan out in the nature.
out in the nature.
I don't believe I've come across such a camp yet in India. So I think you'll be one of the first ones to
I mean, there are people
There are.
who have come up, but everyone has their own way of
training.
training and about opening this thing. So everyone has their own way when they open. So I'm sure the next one I'm going to take both of you all and then you all can give me the inputs, how you all felt it.
We'd
Yeah,
love to
sure.
come. Yeah.
Yeah. We spoke about like training, like how training is so important and finding the right coach is so important. You trained under Sanchai, who is like the goat of Muay Thai. Like if you want to have a football equivalent, it's going to be like Ronaldo or Messi of football. So how is it training in Thailand? Because you have trained in India and Thailand both. How is it different from your training over here? And how is it that experience of just training under the greatest of all time?
So when I started with boxing, by the way, when I was small, and then at 13 years old, I shifted to Muay Thai. And like I didn't know anything about Muay Thai. All I knew about was Sanchai because I used to, follow his game a lot. And I was like, this guy's a magician. And since at the age of 13 till 24, I used to see his matches and it was my dream to get trained under him. And when QKH happened, and then I told, me and my father had a discussion of, we should go and definitely check this guy out, like in person, because we've been following him throughout my whole life. And, we sent him a mail and then things worked and it clicked and he was free during that time. And I was so, when I went there, when I saw him for the first time in person, I was so memorized.
Yeah.
And what I learned under him, I think I'm going to cherish that throughout my whole life. And it's just different. It's very different. Like I said, they breathe Muay Thai. Like, let's say we try to learn, we try to, adapt. They just breathe it. So for them, it's their own, it's their living, it's their
life.
culture. It's just life. It's just life. So you can't compare even 1% or 2% to here to there.
How is he in person? Like,
Oh,
there's-
he's a funny guy. If my friends who don't know him,
yeah,
and if they see him, he's a short, he's a little short,
yeah.
and he looks like a very normal, very very subtle, normal guy. And people will be like,
Yeah.
"Oh, dude, I can take this guy," and I'm like, "Dude,
Don't be mistaken.
20, y'all won't stand a chance against him."
Does he have that flair or that ego that oh, I'm the greatest Muay Thai
He's
artist?
one of the most humble human being I've met in my life, and I could sense no.
Yeah. He doesn't feel like a celebrity.
I mean, that's the whole point, right? You'll respect a person who'll act less as a celebrity, but more as a person. So he's just him. He's so normal. How he is on the screen, he'll be in the same way. How
Okay.
he's in the fight, he'll react the same way. So I mean, he's not deluded or he's not any.
He's not egoistic.
Not egoistic at all.
But
I
this-
mean, all the true martial artists you'll meet in life, they won't have any ego.
But at the same time, they can beat up probably 20 people.
Definitely, definitely. But again, they won't.
Yeah. But that's such an important skill to have. You have all the power, but at the same time, you're going to use it only when it's required.
Required.
Yeah.
So how popular is boxing in India versus Muay Thai? I think boxing is more popular in India.
Yes.
Yeah.
So wrestling and boxing are the two sports. If you rank it in the whole world, they come in top 10, and India is part of it. So if you go abroad and like if you're going in any fighting and you say you're from India, they're gonna think two things. And then they think you're a wrestler or you're a boxer.
Boxer.
Because our boxers have, made a good name for our country.
Yes.
And even so as our wrestlers.
Yes.
So if you see in combat sport, boxing and wrestling are quite there.
Quite,
Yeah.
So, Qais, we touched upon so many topics. One thing that I'm very interested to know is what goes in your mindset before entering that ring.
Okay.
Is your heart pounding? Give us the raw emotions that goes in a athlete's
So yes,
mind.
the heart does pound, but I'll say mainly it's all about your breathing. People neglect their breathing. Is the moment they lose the track of their breathing is when their heart pounds the most. So when you enter the ring, it's a very different scenario. Like trust me, everything will be muted. Like let's say your friends, your family, your coach is cheering for you, and the audience, it all fades away. You just zone in. It's just you, your opponent, his breathing, and your breathing. And the moment the bell touches, everything fades out. See, the pressure is gone. Yeah. But the main pressure is before the fight, like, the before you sleep, before the anxiety. And main thing, all these attacks were a gut. It all attacks our gut first. So that's why they say why yoga plays a very important role in breathing. I believe breathing is the main factor because through breathing, half your stress, your heart rate, everything settles. When people can't, focus that, they lose control and they become anxious.
Yeah.
And when they become anxious, that game can get spoiled. So the calmer you are, the better you can.
Yeah.
So I have two scenarios on that.
Okay.
You've entered the ring, your heart is pounding, like you said. You knock in the opponent first.
Okay.
And you win the fight.
Okay.
What goes through your mind versus when you lose a fight
Okay.
and you've got punched? I
So,
would like to
yeah,
just compare both the scenarios.
So when you win,
Yeah.
it's overwhelming, right?
Yeah.
Like it's just a big achievement of your life, and like you see your loved ones calling and like everyone being with you, and just feel so wholesome. Same case, if you lose, like I'll be very honest. For me, first of all, a winner is one who steps up in the ring because it's not easy task for anyone to step up and take a fight. So for me, a winner basically is the one who takes the fight. Okay, when we speak about losing, you never lose. You will in fact learn. No winner can learn unless they lose, right? So if you're losing, you're going to adapt yourself into a better training. You'll speak better. Like you're going to ask more questions. You're going to work on your mistakes and then become a better champion.
Inspiring, yeah. And what the same journey now that you're coaching people and students, you're outside the ring and you're seeing your students step into the ring.
So that still gives me now like a week back, like I couldn't attend your events also because of this. My 5 kids were playing MSSA, like inter school MSSA, and so I trained this girl since almost a year, and she's 14, and so she has never like been into a stage, and like even she's young, and I remember from my point when I used to compete during that age, and when she was entering and she was all nervous, and like I won't lie, like that gave me also butterfly in my stomach, like she's gonna play, and like because we are so possessive and we are so protective about our
You're so invested in the person.
yeah. So like and it's not even that, like we all know people have worked very hard and come in, like even the opponent, of course, I mean she has worked really hard, but see, end of the day, it's all about your work versus their work, your ethics and your morals and your values put into the person. So I tell all of them, it's not about you winning or losing. It's about you win a life is by doing all this. You're a winner. Tomorrow you can share the story throughout your whole life. You can share a story that you went in, you played. See, you winning and losing is a secondary thing.
Yeah.
You yourself are a winner once you have taken up that challenge.
80% of life is just showing up.
It's just showing up, yeah.
Yeah. And how long does the training camp was there for the 14-year-old
for them it was
student?
rigorous. It was for 3 months. But I see, this is what I like about them. They were so, like the consistency was so well done, well input, their game flow, everything. Even the opponent they went against were a really high experienced player. Consider they were the newcomers. But yeah, they did reach finals. But yeah, things were like really well. Like for me, in my eyes, they all were winners.
Makes you proud.
It makes me.
So speaking about like amateur fighters, like you explained us that, but now for professional fighters, if there is a camp, okay, a pre-fight camp, what does that camp duration look like, and what happens in that those months?
So during my days when I used to compete, so we used to go for like a 10 days camp, and we used to, be absent from this noisy cities, and we used to isolate ourselves in places where, it's just us. And it used to always start with, 10 kilometers of jogging in the morning, 7 to 10, we used to like target. And it used to be our conditioning for stamina. And then strength and conditioning used to be in the afternoon. And then sparring used to happen in the evening. And then at night, 9 o'clock used to be at the stretching, the flexibility and mobility. So it used to
Wow.
be like a full
12
And
hours.
you used to do this for 10 days?
yes.
Wow.
Yeah, when I used to go for the outpost camp, for the fight camp.
So, like, I hear a lot of fighters, like, these UFC fighters, they are on a camp for, like, say, 3 months or 6 months. How is that different from what you used to experience, or are they the same?
I wouldn't say same. See, for them, they themselves are a brand, right? Like if they are playing at such a level where the whole world knows them,
Yeah.
people are going to invest more on them. They're going to make sure they have the best trainers. They're going to have the best diet. So they'll make sure that they are at the 100%. I mean, let's say 110%. So all these brands and all their team are going to make sure they get the best of that person.
Yeah.
So that way, I think that they have to work like 10 steps more ahead.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
And one important question I have for you, Qais, is for people to overcome their personal challenges, whatever hurdles they may be facing in life, or hardships, how does this martial arts, we spoke about martial arts, kickboxing, Muay Thai, it's a niche, right? Not everyone is yet accustomed to working out on this. So how does that help in one's hardship? Any insights on that?
I mean, if you know that you have learned something where you can defend yourself, let's say when if you're walking on roads, when at night, let's say a girl who has learned martial arts, she's going to feel more comfortable than a person who has not learned. See, end of the day, I'm not saying she can take on people or she can take on this, but just that self-confidence,
Yeah.
You just feel good inside that you know something that you can take care of. Let's say if you're with your mother, if you're with your loved ones outside, and there won't be any anxiety because you know that I can take care of that person because I know something that I've learned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in a way, if you see, it's a very positive impact.
Yeah.
See,
Yeah.
I'm not saying anyone has to be in that situation.
Yeah.
But God forbid if something happens in your mind, you'll be at ease that I know how to defend this situation and I've been training for it.
Yeah. And if everything in martial arts is like you have to earn it, like
You
there's
earn it,
nothing
yes.
that comes for free. So I feel like if you're continuously training something where you are earning that skill every single time you go to the gym, that puts your mind at work in a way that your mind is used to earning things. Whereas today, getting a dopamine hit out of like a click on your app is so easy, right? But now when you have to earn that skill, you have to build those muscles, you have to train again and again and again to actually perfect that one move, your mind gets used to putting in that effort. And I feel that has a positive benefit in everything in life, where like whether you're studying for your exam or you're working at an assignment in your company, or you're even having you're building your own relation. Everything takes time, everything takes a lot of effort. And I feel martial arts directly has a spillover effect on all these things in our life.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So there's a saying, right, of yin and yang. You all know, right?
No, I'm not aware. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sure me and Darshan have
We have
had
spoken about
yin
this,
and yang.
yeah.
So if there are winners in life, there are going to be losers. If there is light, there's going to be darkness. If there is good, there's going to be bad. If there are demons, there are angels. So it's all about balance in life. And it's up to us how we make that balance. So I believe strongly a person is whole when he finds balance between both things.
Yeah.
Same way when martial arts kicks in our daily work. Like
Yeah.
we're working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, and another beauty of that same quote is that if you see the yin and yang symbol, like it's in the symbol, there is a black dot in white,
Yes, and the white.
and the white dot in the black. So in any dark moment, you can always find that white brightness, and in any positive outcome, like there might be that one
dark
spot that you should be aware of. So
It's beautiful, right? It's
yeah,
beautiful.
yeah.
Qais, thank you so much for coming and sharing your experience, helping us understand how important is martial arts in one's upbringing and also the various health benefits with it. appreciate your time. Thank you so much for
Thank
coming.
you.
Thank you,
Thank
guys.
I mean, we all are learners. We all
Yeah.
have learned,
Yeah.
shared our views, and again we've evolved.
And life is all about learning, right?
Learning.
The learning never stops.
Learning
Yeah.
never stops.
Yeah.
Thank
you
you.
guys.
I feel like working out, man. After talking about
Yeah.
all this,
Yeah.
I was like,